Good afternoon. I'm Ann Jones Guider. I'm District 4 Commissioner here in Douglas County. Each quarter, the district commissioners get a chance to do interviews and on any topic they want to. And I always try to bring people or topics that are very interesting or something that the public really needs to know about. Oftentimes we see people in offices here at the courthouse, and we know that's what they do in that particular arena. However, we sometimes have people that's behind the scenes more often than not. And today we have the clerk of the court. Now there's a clerk of the county, which is different, but the clerk of the court, we're going to go into some detail as to what that department does. It's probably one of the largest departments in the county, and we are blessed with Tammy Howard, who has been the clerk from
since 2013.
2013, but you worked in the office
Since
before
1994.
Since 1994. We got a lot of history here too, and she is over this huge department, but you don't see her at the counter. She's way in the back because there's so many aspects to her department. And we also have, we're honored with Miss Hazel Burton, and she is a pillar in this community. And she's the one that keeps up with all the money that flows through this office. And she's probably one of the longest running employees here in Douglas County. Is that right?
Maybe so.
Before that, you worked with the school system over at Stewart Middle School.
That is correct.
Yes, and I knew her back then too. So our boys grew up together on the ball field at Winston.
Yes.
And then we have Miss Janissa Miller, and she is over the state court that is under Tammy's office also. So, Tammy, I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
And we're going to start with the record room.
Okay.
What is the record room and just everything that's held there?
Okay. We have the big old books back to 1871 where they used to handwrite your land records, like your warranty deeds, your security deeds. They're all handwritten. And then, of course, we moved on to the little red books that are they're all around the room in there.
Mm-hmm.
But all of the deed records we have managed to get available online back to 1871.
So they are accessible through the internet.
Yes, they are.
And off the
and they're
website.
safe. That's my job, is to keep these records safe, one of my jobs. And so we did manage to get all of those available online, scanned and available online. So now if something happened, God forbid, to the courthouse, your land records are safe back to that date, when Douglas County began.
But every time somebody buys a house, there's two deeds involved.
There are.
There's the warranty deed, which transfers the title of the property.
Correct.
But then the security deed is the lien, where
Correct.
you transfer it over to the bank until
That's
you get
right.
it paid for.
Then you have assignments, because they sell the liens.
Oh, every
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Sometimes before the ink dries.
Yeah, that's the truth.
With one bank, they've sold it to another bank,
That's
and
true.
so every time anything touches that property, it's recorded in your
Exactly.
room.
We
and
had
also
about-
liens.
Yes, we had hospital liens, mechanics liens, all kinds of lien records.
Tax liens.
Yeah, tax liens.
Mm-hmm.
But back to the deeds, we had over 19,000 last year recorded. in Douglas County.
19,000
That's
pieces.
just the deed records.
Okay, now, I was here in the tax office when everything was, someone had to walk into your office, record that document, get it stamped by you and everything. But now, can't some of that be done electronically?
We are doing UCCs electronically, but not quite ready for deeds yet. We are close. So that'll be this year.
But
that
the
you'll be able to.
PT-61s, which is the record of that transfer
Right.
from the attorneys, I guess.
Right.
They're sent to you, and that's what the
Electronically,
assessors
yes.
use also to
Yes.
transfer
Yes.
their records. Everything starts in this office.
It really
as far
does.
as your property tax and everything, it
Mhm.
starts in her office. And the record room, I used to have to run title, and I'd run in there, and we'd run see if a piece of property had sold. When we had a piece of mail that came back in the tax office, we first thing we check, has it sold?
Right.
So,
Right.
but everything starts there.
It does.
Mhm.
And not only in the record room do we have the property records, but we have civil and criminal records in there.
Okay, explain to the public the difference.
Okay.
People that work in the court system, they understand it, but the people that do not do that,
That's true.
you know, they wouldn't
And
know.
that's true, because if people call us, they'll say, "Well, was it a civil or criminal?" I say, "Well, I'm not a criminal." Well, I'm not saying you are, but I need to know the difference.
Right.
And civil cases are filed. They are e-filed by attorneys now. It's mandatory by state law, but pro se people can still file them at the counter, and that is anywhere from a divorce, child support, contempt cases, modifications, name changes, contract account cases, anything that you have to sue the other person.
Mhm.
That's a civil case, and that didn't take away your freedom. A criminal case, however, if someone's committed a crime, so we get the warrants from the sheriff's department. They're imported
Mhm.
electronically now.
Good.
Then we put them in our system, we give it numbers, we assign it judges, and then that goes to the district attorney's office, who then prosecutes the case. So then they will draw up the case. It'll either go before a grand jury, or they will draw up a felony accusation. Those are filed in our office as well. We give it a case number. It starts the process in our office after that, with arraignment dates, jury trial dates, or plea dates. So, and then it closes out in our office. We also have to transmit those records to the Georgia Department of Corrections.
Angie's
So-
My goodness.
Yes, and GCIC. So,
Okay.
because we have to create that criminal record for that person. So that's a
So
little
how
bit
many
different.
judges do you take care of?
We have 3 superior court judges, and we have 2 state court judges. So we
Okay.
have 5.
You don't do anything with the juvenile?
No,
Okay.
no, their records are separate and
Because they're
Private.
Private.
more private.
They're
Our-
sealed.
Right. Our adoption records are private. Only me and my adoption clerk and my chief deputy can see the adoption records.
Okay.
So, and we had 45 adoptions last year filed. So, but back to civil, we had 2,700 civil cases. That was up from 2018. So our work is increasing
Yes. Yes.
tremendously.
Now, you mentioned the state court, and Janisa, I'm going to pass it down to you if you would talk about the state court, because a lot of people
Yes.
get involved with that one.
Correct. We deal with traffic, misdemeanor, and civil. So we have the misdemeanors, she has the felonies, I have the misdemeanors.
Now, what's the difference? Is there money?
Sometimes if it's a shoplifting case, it would depend on how much you stole, depending on whether it's a felony or misdemeanor, but most of it's based on the law. So some offenses are felonies, some are misdemeanors. Some, if it's your first offense, it's a misdemeanor, your second or subsequent is a felony. So it just depends on exactly what you were charged with. Usually it comes to us already separated. The law enforcement officers know what's a felony, what's a misdemeanor. The jail separates them and sends them. So we get all the misdemeanors, and then we get traffic, which is a large part
Yes.
of what we deal with.
Do you know how many traffic violations there were last year?
We had about 9,000 cases. So if you got 2 tickets, that's considered 1 case.
Okay.
So probably closer to 10,000 tickets were written. But we deal with, that's a large part of what we deal with. And some of them are just simple prepayable, I wasn't wearing my seatbelt kind of tickets. And then we deal with the more serious DUI, suspended license, the more serious traffic charges that are still, but any traffic offense in the state of Georgia is considered a misdemeanor. So they're technically criminal cases, and people don't always appreciate knowing that they're criminal. We don't treat them like that, of course, but that's just that it's technically considered a criminal offense versus a civil offense. And so then we get civil cases as well. Our civil filings were up over 60% this past year.
Yeah.
Yes, we took a big jump this past year.
Are we
Um,
not teaching our kids how to drive or something?
Well, that's the criminal offenses that were up pretty high. People, in hard economic times, some people get behind on things, and so we get the the contract accounts where you couldn't pay your bank or you couldn't pay your credit card, and so we get a lot of those. We still get some people suing their neighbors, and some of them are just not friendly situations.
Do they
but
start in the magistrate court?
They can.
That's
So
okay.
magistrate has a limit. I think it's 5,000? 15,000.
Yeah. It
So if
was
I'm
raised
suing you
recently, I
for,
think.
if I'm suing you for $10,000, I can sue you in state, superior, or magistrate, just depending
pick.
on my preference. But if I'm suing you for 16,000, it has to be state or superior. So some people will choose one or the other, just their preference, or any, mini, miny, mo. I'm not really sure, but you can choose to do it however you'd like. And then we take those cases again. Most of ours are e-filed. If you're pro se, doing it on your own, then you can paper file it. But most of our cases are e-filed, which makes it a little easier. But you still have to go in and check everything, make sure those records are correct and complete, update all the addresses. So there's a lot to it. It's not just, oh, I e-filed everything, it's done. There's a lot of backdoor work that not everybody sees. The same with the criminal offenses. There's so much to it. We transmit to GCIC and to Department of Driver Services. Most traffic offenses, of course, are going to end up on your driving record. So a lot of that gets transmitted. So we have to deal
So,
with
but they can pay most tickets,
Most-
moving
Correct.
tickets online,
online.
right?
About 75% of our tickets are what we call prepayable, where there is a fine assessed with them that the judges assess. And so they can choose to pay that fine
Now, what if
out.
they can't pay the whole fine? Can they pay part of it?
They can. We have what's called the partial payment plan, and it's working very well. We have a lot of people on that.
I think Matt Krul
That
started
is
that,
correct.
didn't he?
That is
Yeah.
correct. He set that up. That was his baby, and he definitely wanted that to happen for the citizens of Douglas County. I certainly wouldn't have $200-300 at the drop of a hat to pay a traffic offense. So it's split up over 10 payments over 6 months, and then if you can pay extra, you can pay extra. Some people, of course, you get your taxes or you get a bonus at work, so they're going to pay it off. But it gives you that flexibility. The solicitors put a lot of people on the partial payment plan that can't otherwise afford to pay their ticket. So it makes a big difference for people to be able to take
But
care
they
of
can
that.
still pay partial payment online.
Online, correct.
Now, if they want to contest the ticket, they have to come to court. right?
Correct. They come to court, and they have to come to court to get set up for the partial payment plan, but once they're set up, then they can pay everything online. And then if they want to contest, they have a right to a jury trial. They can also choose a bench trial in state court. So if I think I didn't do it, I'm welcome to ask the judge for a trial, and it goes from there. And then, of course, our calendar clerks schedule it for those dates, and we've had jury trials over, running a stop sign. People think they weren't guilty of that, and sometimes there's a video, and yeah, okay.
There's always a video these days.
Right. But they
So how
definitely
many-
have those options.
How many people do you have just in the state court?
12. There are 12 of
12.
us all together.
And bless your heart, we finally got you some more room.
Yes.
These people had to put up with just ungodly working conditions. They were just stuffed in one little room, and
Yes.
desks and telephones, all of them ringing at the same time.
Yes.
I do not know how y'all did it, but thank goodness you now have sufficient
Yes.
room.
Yes.
Once the tax commissioner's office moved out and the appraisal department moved out, then all that room was reallocated to people that badly needed
Yes.
it, and you were the top of that
Desperate.
list.
And we appreciate it.
Yes, I know, because I would go in there and I'd say, how do they do this? Because the phones were ringing and there'd be people looking at each other, one desk here and one desk here, and they're carrying on two different conversations. I just don't see how
It was
y'all
not
do
It was,
easy.
it was definitely crazy Sundays, but it made us closer. I would say those are 11 of my best friends, and so we were very close in there. We work great as a
I
team.
bet you they became your best friend.
Yeah, we have to work well with each other. We're all cross-trained, and so if somebody's out sick, because there's only 12 of us, so if somebody's out sick one day, you have to have somebody that can fill in. So we definitely learn how to do each other's jobs sitting in a small room, but it's a great team.
All right, Miss Burton. Now, all of this brings in funds,
Correct.
fines, penalties, all this stuff. And somebody's got to keep up with where that money was collected and where it is to be dispersed, how it's to be dispersed. Now, let's see, is your computer huge?
Just two
Not at
monitors.
this time, because I have two young ladies in the office that aids me with that. They are the ones with the two computers. I have only one.
Okay.
And I think they gave me that one so I can sort of keep an eye on what we're all doing together.
Do you know about how much was collected in this office last year? Do you have any idea?
No, I do not, but I know it's in the millions. And to
Millions.
give you some example, one account for 1 month had like $602,000. I wished I had known that was one of the questions. I would have had you some figures.
Well, I'm sorry.
But it is in the millions, and we work hard to make sure that it is recorded properly. We also disperse to the state and to the county, and if at any time you'd like to see the records, we have them available.
That's great. But I just know you got your hands full because every time a deed is recorded, there's fees attached to that.
Yes.
Anytime you have a moving violation, there's fees attached to that. And so many, any kind of document at all that is filed in your office.
Recorded, there's
And
fees.
then you do condemnations on property.
Oh, yes.
You keep the funds. The county or the state does the condemnation,
Right.
but you hold those funds
We
until
do.
it's
So
settled.
we have an order from a court telling she will not disperse a dime without an order from the court.
And I think the department has to send you a letter
Yes.
saying
That is correct.
this is how much is owed us on
Right.
that condemn.
And believe it or not, just because they give us an amount on the order, we have to check to make sure those funds are in our account, because we do not want to make a mistake and send something out that was really not there. And I tell you something else that we handle, and I take a little pride in it for
Okay.
our office, and that is NSF checks. Accounts are closed, these type things. And I want to say, as far as our office is concerned, we have collected every NSF check
Oh, my
that has
goodness.
been issued to us. I have a policy that I started way back when I worked with Cindy Chafin, Rhonda Payne, and now Miss Howard, and they allowed me to do it. I call and I give them 15 days to report the funds. If they do not, I let them know I am going to take out a bad check warrant. I've only had to take out 2 of those, to my knowledge, in the 34 years that I've worked here.
It probably surprises the public to think that people would write bad checks to the government.
Yeah.
That is true.
I have seen bad checks to the sheriff's office. Now that takes a lot of gall.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
But-
the smallest one I had was 50 cents. And this person lived in Mirror Lake, and I said, how dare you think that Douglas County is going to let you get away with that? So I called, and I gave her 15 days. Believe it or not, she was in the very next day. She apologized, but for somebody to write the county a 50 cents check for copies, I just could not believe that. So since they said it was my job to collect, that's what I do.
Boy, I'd hate to have you after me.
Not like,
But it takes someone like Hazel Burton to get the job done, especially on things like that.
Yes.
But you've been in that office like 43 years, and so
34.
No, going
No.
on 34.
34 years. But
The
you've
other
been
years
doing
was at Stewart.
you've been doing that type work, the
Yes.
bookkeeping,
Right.
ever since. So she must be doing a good job.
Yes, definitely.
Must be balancing those books.
She's talking about retirement, but I'm not going to let her.
Oh my goodness, we don't want her to retire.
I don't either.
But really and truly, you look the same as you did way back.
Thank you.
You've held up well. They
That's
must
right.
be taking pretty good care of you over
They
there.
are. They are.
All right, Tammy, let's get back to some other departments in
Okay.
your under your realm, your umbrella. Jury pool.
Yes.
You have to pull the juries.
Yes.
Jurors.
Yes. Jury management is my favorite part, really, of my job.
Really?
I actually love it. I love to go and talk with the jurors. that's just my opportunity to get to meet some of the public. So I love that part. It is a job, though. I have a young lady, Crystal Scott, that is my jury clerk. She oversees it. She gets the orders from the judge. She mails out the summons, and she takes all of the calls, and she manages that part of it. And then it takes about 8 of my employees on a jury Monday morning to help check them in. We have just started a few weeks ago paying jurors with a debit card. A lot of counties are moving to this.
And the reason you had to do that
Yes.
was
Yes,
fraud.
yes. It was hitting only our jury account. We've got several accounts, and the fraud was hitting our jury account about every other week, wasn't it, Bert?
Yes.
So, and big checks. So thank the good Lord we were able to stop them in time so that they didn't get processed. But that, it was just happening too often. And so with the debit cards, that can't happen. So
Yeah.
we check the jurors in, we assign their card to them. There's no money on that card until we load it on Fridays. And on Fridays we
Kind of
check
like
each
going
juror.
to Walmart and getting a
Yes,
little debit card.
and
or
we
something,
check
credit
each
card.
juror's name on Friday to make sure we have the number of days they were here. And it's just a matter of click, 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 and the money's on their cards.
It's a shame that you
So-
have to do all this stuff
Yeah.
just to avoid crime happening,
Yeah.
and it seems like they stay one step ahead of
I know.
everybody. So, but
Yes.
tell us, how do you draw the jurors'
juror names?
names?
We get a master list that is compiled by the Superior Court Clerks Council in Atlanta. This is all by statute.
Mhm.
They created this council. The council had to create our master list for all 159 counties in Georgia. They get the names from voter registrations and also your driver's license.
Mhm.
So it's an all-inclusive. It changed in 2012 to be all-inclusive. It includes everybody.
Well, a lot of people were not registering to vote
Correct.
because they felt like they would be called for jury duty.
That's correct.
But now, if you have a driver's license, you're going to be.
You're on the
so
list.
Get out there and register to vote.
That's right. That's right.
We want everybody to vote. That's true.
We had 116,000 names on our master jury list this year. So, and we
Do you have trouble with people not reporting?
We summons about 550. We get about half of that, but a lot of the summons get returned to us. They've moved,
Mm-hmm.
or they've called ahead of time and got deferred, or legally excused. So the turnout's getting better.
Good.
It's getting better. So.
Good. Well, with the voter registration in the tag office, when you get your tag, you can register
Right.
to vote and everything. That's also new.
Correct.
So, but they can't avoid being on the jury list just because they're on the a
Nope.
voter list.
We gotcha. If you drive, now if you don't drive, I don't know how they would pull your name in, but because they do pull it from those two lists. Then they try to clean up the list by getting the death certificates from the different probate courts, the felony convictions from the Department of Corrections, and they try
So
to
if
do
they've
that.
got a felony against them, even though they registered a tag for the first time and registered to vote at that time, it can be taken off because they're a
Yes.
felony.
Correct.
Now, there's a lot of things being said in other states about even felonies being allowed to vote, but here in Georgia, they can't.
I'm not supposed to.
Not yet.
Right.
It's probably going to come down the pipeline somewhere.
Right.
Another department that is under your umbrella is the Board of Equalization.
Yes.
So explain to the public who they are and how they're selected.
Okay. The grand jury has to pick or assign the Board of Equalization members. We have 2 boards. Each board has 3 members and 3 alternates. So there's 12 members and alternates combined. 4 of them roll off every year, so we have to get the grand jury to appoint 4 more. And my job, by statute, is to run the ad in the paper. I usually run it around September, and get the applicants. I go before the grand jury. I give them the applicants. It's totally 100% up to the grand jury
Oh,
who they
really?
put on
Okay.
board.
I didn't know that. I
Mhm.
thought it was up to you.
Nope, I have no say so.
Okay,
I
and
just
you don't want
run the ad.
that.
I run the ad. I get the appointments. Then it's my responsibility to get them in, administer their oaths, get them trained. They have to go to all of them. All 12 of them have to go to training.
Now, this
every year.
is a paid appointment, isn't it not?
Yes, they do
Okay.
get paid.
Per diem,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Do you know what it is?
I do. It's $100 a day that
Okay.
they come.
Uh-huh.
Usually we'll use board one week and board two 1 week, and it's usually 3 days a week.
Well, how long do they remain
Are in
on that
session.
board?
They remained 3 years
3 years,
Mhm.
okay.
They roll
But
off.
how often are they called in?
to meet. They usually start around February,
Oh, really?
and they go till about June or July sometimes.
Okay.
So, and then they start back again in like October. So
Oh, okay.
they'll go October.
So it
November,
really
December,
depends on
then-
how many appeals.
Yes.
Now, the Board of Equalization is the second step when you appeal your property tax. You appeal to the Board of Assessors.
Correct.
When you get your assessment notice, and then they review it, and if they don't change anything, they pass it on up to the Board of Equalization.
Correct.
Now, the Board of Equalization are citizens
Correct.
of Douglas County. And they come from all over the county, not just one area and everything. And you can go in there. I've done this myself.
Yeah.
You can go in there or have a rep go in there for you and plead your case.
Yes.
Why you feel like the assessors are wrong in their assessment.
Mhm.
And oftentimes, probably more often than not, the Board of Equalization will overturn something from the Board of Assessors.
Yes.
And, but then the assessors has the right to reject that figure, and then they go to some kind of
Appeal to Superior Court.
Superior Court, and there you go again.
Yep.
But it can be arbitration, go to arbitration first, I think. Or
Yes.
everybody kind of get together and
Mhm.
try to settle the
Try to work it
difference.
out.
But
We don't have very many that gets appealed to Superior Court. So
good.
Usually it gets settled along the line.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else about the Board of Equalization?
No, we have a wonderful board. A lot of counties, I hear all these horror stories about their board members and stuff. But we have, kudos to our board members. They're wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a
And
good
there's two
job.
boards.
There's 2 boards.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And is there anything else that you're over that I haven't covered here today?
Well, I do want the citizens to know that we process the notary applications.
Okay.
So if you want to become a notary, you have to.
Passports.
Yes, we do
Yes.
passports.
Oh my goodness! I
We
can't
do.
believe that went over my head.
And for the veterans, we record your DD 214s free of charge. So
Now the DD 214 is
it's
the
their discharge,
discharge.
papers, and they're safe here. So if I was a veteran and I had that, I would record it here. We give you the original back, so
Uh-huh.
that way it's recorded. If your family ever needs it or you lost it, then you
Mhm.
can come here and get a copy of it.
Mhm.
And only you or your family member, and you'd have to show us proof. You know, they're real private. We keep them under lock and key
Mhm.
because they have some information on them that's private. But we do that. We also record trade names, applications. so-
Corporations. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Ah,
For the
let's
Secretary of
see.
State.
Yeah, well, it's different.
It's-
You do have to go to Secretary of State on some things,
Okay.
but some things here are recorded in our office as well.
And passports.
Mhm. Passports
Um,
we process. Gosh, we
Do
processed
you
over
take the
3,000.
picture and everything, or does
We
the
do
drugstore
not.
do that?
We don't do the pictures.
So
We're not
that
set up.
whoever's applying for a passport needs to have their picture already made
Yes.
and bring it to you.
Yes.
And it takes, a lot of times people wait till the last minute when they want their
Yes.
passport, going on a
Yes.
cruise, and they need their passport.
Right.
And about how long does it take to get a passport?
For a routine, it's 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
And then if you want it faster, then you can expedite for 60 extra additional dollars. And
Yeah,
it's
you have to pay
2 to
for-
3 weeks.
Yeah.
But that goes to the U.S. Department of State. All the funds,
Mhm.
that money goes to them. We don't do ours by appointment, and that's a good thing because a lot of people
Yes.
can't do appointments with the different other, like post offices. They have to have appointment times. but we don't. So
Mm-hmm.
you can come between 8 and 3:30. We have to cut it off at 3:30 because we're supposed to put them in the mail, or we do, required to put them in the mail every day. We can't keep them overnight, so we have our mail leaves at
Really?
4, so we have to
Right.
get them in there.
I did not know that.
Mhm.
You cannot, you're not allowed to. That's one of the U.S. Department of State rules. So we have to get them in the mail on a daily basis, and we do.
Very good.
So I think we did about 3,800 last year.
Oh my goodness.
So
Okay, very good.
very busy.
There was a little controversy. One time it was put under somebody else, and then it was moved back to the.
Yeah, that was before my times.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you would like the public to know about your office?
We're just
And I'm asking all three
Yeah,
of y'all
well,
that.
help me
Is
think.
there anything about the state court, or we know that Burton will get you if you write a bad check?
I
Or-
think the biggest thing is that we are customer service. A lot of people that we deal with are charged with a crime or are being sued, or so they kind of feel like maybe they're behind the 8 ball. But we are here to serve the citizens of Douglas County. That is our main job, and I have learned from Tammy and from Miss Burton how to treat people and how to treat them well, and to always be kind. And we do everything we do is to keep the records safe, secure, and correct. That is our main job as clerks.
And when you talk about safe records, like if, a criminal case, it can go on forever. So you may have boxes of those
Yes.
cases
Yes.
in storage that you have to pull out every once in a while because of an appeal,
Correct.
and it just keeps on and on and
It
on.
does.
So,
Those cases are scanned.
Yes.
We've been scanning since 2005.
so
that's
those records are safe.
They are,
too.
and to the appeals. Since you mentioned that, we do the appeals to the Court of Appeals and to the Supreme Court, and they are required to be sent electronically. We used to have to copy
I
boxes.
have gone with
Yeah.
Jane Williams.
Yes,
Down to the state capitol, back
take an
behind the
appeal?
Capitol, to take an appeal. I
And it was
sure
boxes?
have. Yes.
well, now it's a click of a button and it's there.
That's great.
So,
That's
and it
great.
saves us a lot of paper, a lot of trees.
Yes.
Good.
So yes, but it's so much more effective and efficient.
And as
So-
far as scanning, we started in 2005, but now we've gone back and scanned. All of state court is scanned, I think, except for 2 years, and I think all of Superior Court is scanned, except for a few years. So we've got projects where we go back and try to get all those records as safe as we can.
Yes.
State court traffic records we only keep for 7 years. So before we destroy a single piece of paper, we make sure every bit of that's scanned and safe, so that if someone ever needed it, it's there.
Right.
So
Mhm.
that's very
old-
important to all of us.
It is. Our old civil and criminal cases were microfilmed at the time. You know, I don't know if you remember
oh,
the
I
micro.
remember those
Yeah.
days.
microfilm machines. Well, I got all the microfilm digitized. So we were
Good.
able to do that in one of our projects.
So if anybody needs a document from one of those old cases, y'all can just spit it out right there.
We can.
Sometimes it takes a minute, but
We have to find the case number
Right.
in the big old books,
Yeah.
but once we find the case number, we can.
And y'all are
make it up.
connected with the sheriff's office on a lot of things.
Yeah.
They used
We
to,
import the warrants from them.
yeah.
and the tickets.
Yeah.
Someone had to bring the warrants up
Mhm.
here and all
Right.
this stuff, and now it's
Yes.
Click some buttons. It's there.
Yeah.
so. Some parts of technology is good, and then
Yes.
other parts, because of all the hacking that's going on, and what we
Yes.
have to do just to keep our system safe here,
Right.
because counties are being attacked and ransomware and all this
Mhm.
stuff. It's a job.
Yes.
It's
It
a
is.
job.
It's a
And it
job.
still all has to be verified to make sure it's correct. And if somebody in another department pushes the wrong button, then it comes to us that way. So you have to check for any mistakes. And so there's a lot of verifying that we're doing now instead of entering. So, but our main job is to make sure that all of that is correct.
That's right.
It's a lot.
Well, y'all have a big job, a huge job.
Yes.
Every one of y'all. And Tammy, I've never had a complaint about this department. Never, that I can remember. And that's because of your customer service. You always have a smile on your face and everything.
We try.
And we really appreciate you here in
Thank
Douglas
you.
County. And Burton, You think about that retirement. No, when you retire, you grow old and you die.
Thank you for making that statement. I feel like Douglas County is my home. It has always been my home, and I always want to be a part. But there comes the time that you have to move on and let others take care of the business.
It's not that
So I'm at a situation where I cannot make a decision at this time. So as far as I'm concerned, Douglas County is still stuck with me.
But good. That's good. But we appreciate what y'all do.
Thank
It's
you.
a big job, big responsibility. It can really just mess up somebody's life if something's
Absolutely.
done
Yes.
wrong, really,
Every
and
piece
are
of
not
paper is-
retained and everything. So, thank you again for your service. And with that, hasn't this been interesting? I told you we had good guests on this show. So this is Ann Jones-Guider, District 4 Commissioner, and my door is always open to you. Thank you.